Canada. Home of its vast mountains, known for its moose and its syrup, but also the last bastion for survivors of the zombie apocalypse. Welcome to the Death Road. Death Road to Canada is a procedurally generated action RPG with beat-em-up elements released back in 2016 with predominantly pixel graphics. The main aim of the game is to travel the grueling 15-day journey to the promised land of Canada after zombies have ravaged the rest of the world. I have a fair amount of hours in this game.
That's quite big.
Mainly because it keeps me coming back with both large content updates and its replayability value. Death Road to Canada scratches my itch for two things I really enjoy in video games. These are character customization and choose your own adventure. I think the reason I enjoy these types of games so much is the level of personalization that they generally add to the experience. That's not to say I don't enjoy a well-defined character in a story, but sometimes I just like to create my own band of characters and see what they get up to, and this is exactly what Death Road to Canada lets you do. I'll admit the character creation isn't incredibly extensive, but it's enough to suffice for what it's trying to do. You can customize the basic appearance of your characters down to their clothing, hairstyle, face, and hats out of an assortment of options available. Each character is allowed a perk and a trait. These are two slightly different ways in which your character is built both personality and stat-wise. A perk generally affects your physical stats such as your combat, fitness, or shooting, whereas a trait generally affects personality more, impacting stats like your loyalty, composure, and attitude. But you can also equip traits that have unique effects in the game. An example of this is the Phoenix, which is not only immune to fire damage, but can also revive upon death. It's certainly a useful trait, but it doesn't come with any boost to base stats, which means it's fundamentally weaker. Nonetheless, it does make for a more exciting and unique game. Despite the fact that Death Road to Canada is set in a rather grim reality, the game does not take itself seriously in the slightest. In fact, I'd liken it more to the ridiculousness of movies like Shaun of the Dead over anything else, boasting over-the-top silly events such as a pose-off, a crazy clown appearing in the back of the car, news broadcasts of crazy government conspiracies, and more. Death Road to Canada is a sort of balancing act between managing all your survivors' needs, making sure you have enough food to eat for the day, enough fuel for the car, and that each survivor is well enough equipped to survive another day. Failing to gather enough food means your survivors generally get disheartened and lose morale. If morale drops too low, you get a morale penalty event, which can often lead to disastrous consequences such as team members leaving, being killed, or your crew being sieged by zombies. The two main gameplay features of Death Road to Canada is its text-based events and its beat-em-up style always be looting events. First, let's talk about the text events. Each day on the Death Road, you will have numerous opportunities through text events on the screen to increase your stats, find new gear, and encounter new locations. Rare locations are highlighted in red and are often much harder but offer greater overall rewards for completion, and ultra-rare locations are highlighted in flashing text and can be very difficult to survive, but the rewards are almost always worth it. Other text events can be in the form of bandit attacks, in which you will have to decide your best course of action or risk having your resources stolen, and character events, where you have the option to recruit one of the many characters that can join you in your party, many of which are often parodies of pop culture icons. In rare text events, characters in your party can have the opportunity to earn certain traits that will be added to your pre-existing traits, so it's a good idea to look out for that also. Always Be looting events act as scavenging hunts, investigating the derelict buildings for gear and resources. Typically the buildings you will be exploring are often generic suburban flats, however, there are some much cooler rare locations such as bunkers, alien spaceships, graveyards, and haunted mansions. You always want to be looking out for food and ammo, especially as there are going to be a few situations in which a gun is going to be really useful. Every couple of days on the road, you will come across trader outposts where you can trade resources like food for better gear or recruits, so I'd always recommend you have an excess of food, as you can snipe some really cool gear for dirt cheap in the right situation. In an average playthrough, you will probably encounter an unavoidable siege event at least 4 times, though probably more. This is where you will be unable to leave a location, generally an incredibly confined space, for a specific time limit, which is usually close to an hour. In that time, an increasing amount of zombies will fill the room. This is where Death Road to Canada is at its absolute hardest, and is more than likely going to be the place where your runs will end. Once you get surrounded by a horde, there's basically no chance of survival unless you have the holy grail of survival items, the chainsaw. The chainsaw is an extremely powerful weapon that can be bought from traders or found in cabins during Always Be looting events, and they absolutely mow through zombies. I cannot begin to tell you how clutch the chainsaw has been in this game. It has turned unsavable games into full victories, and is incredibly useful for sieges in particular. There is only one drawback, which is that the chainsaw runs on fuel, so it makes balancing fuel for the chainsaw and the car a precarious task. So I'd still only recommend using it in life or death situations. So you've done it. You're on the edge of the border to Canada. Salvation is so close. But wait, one final siege, and this time it's 4 hours. That's right, Death Road to Canada's final challenge is a brutal siege that will test your whole team and their survival. I've had a ridiculous number of runs end at the final siege, with chances of survival decreasing with each omitted member from the final battle. I gotta admit though, when you do manage to beat the huge siege for the first time, it is a momentous feeling, especially if every member gets out alive. After surviving that hellish predicament, you'll finally arrive. Canada is but one final home stretch away as you slash and shoot your way through the final horde, guarding the entrance to Canada. And just like that, you're free. You finally escaped the hellscape that lies behind you and entered Canada. Congratulations on your thoroughly earned Canadian citizenship. On top of the traditional death mode, the game comes packed with over 14 bonus modes for you to try your hand at. Some of these include more grueling 25-day journeys, an endless mode where Canada is actually a myth and doesn't exist, and my personal favourite 2 modes, OPP mode and 4 Jerks mode. OPP mode, standing for Overpowered Party, is a mode where you can take full control of any rare character and recruit up to 4 of them right at the start of the game. I like this mode quite a lot due to the fact that the characters you choose can be ridiculously strong. You can then actually travel to a lot more of the extreme events very early on in the game and have a much stronger chance of survival. The unique areas are often the more extreme ones, so with this mode you get a much more unique experience and it allows you to play with your favourite rare characters. 4 Jerks mode is similar in the fact that it also allows you to start with a party of 4. However, this time instead of it being rare characters, the whole party is made up of your own customizations. I personally like this mode that little bit more because of the personal touch it adds to the events. They may not start out very strong, but turning them into powerful characters over the course of the game is very satisfying to me. So that's Death Road to Canada. All in all, it's a fun game. It's fairly cheap as well, averaging around £15 on most storefronts. I would say around now is also probably the best time to pick the game up, as they're approaching release of the final update for the game, which they have been continually adding to since 2016. This update will add some more events and locations, as well as hoping to add a lot of workshop mod support, which could potentially see the game see an endless supply of community-created events, locations and characters. On top of that, the studio is looking to announce a medieval-style sequel to the game, so there's lots to be excited about. As always, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe pick up the game yourself. And remember, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and maybe leave a comment if you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.